quick because Dean needs to go get his kiddos from school because again, we love working this around our family. Family comes first. So Dean, can you unmute my friend and share real quick before we keep
Hey,
on going?
hey, Michelle, can you hear me crystal clear?
Yes, we can. Thank you so
All
much for
right.
sharing.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, I always have to give you your flowers and tell you thank you so much for your yes, because see, your yes literally made it possible for my yes so that I could pick myself up out of the slum that I was in to kind of get my head back in the game. But literally, I'm sitting here, I drove home from work just now because I said I needed to be in a place where I could just kind of pour into the community to have them understand, exactly what this business could do for them. So I'm sitting here looking out at the airport, and the airplane literally took off just now. And that just put me in the mind frame of all the guests that's on here who literally showed up for their success, meaning they're going to the next level. So hats off, to all my guests. Go ahead and drop a 5 in the comment section for all my guests. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Dean, just a simple guy, and I call myself a little nobody that God is using to bless a whole lot of people, turning me into somebody and using me to bless a whole lot of people in a sense where, I'm a husband, I'm a father, but I started in this online space 8 years ago, to be exact, 8 years ago. And the reason why I got started, listen, my bills were up here, way above my head where you cannot see, but my income was here. And where I live in the Caribbean, the average salary is less than $3,000 for the month. But with bills up here, income here, I had to do something to make it work. So, I started to work a second job in order to make ends meet, right? So I had like a 30-minute window where I'm running from one busy job, a 30-minute window to pick my son up from the daycare, to drop him home, to literally go and rush to the next job, right? But I was doing that, ladies and gentlemen, but instead of advancing, what was happening was I was just being beaten down deeper and deeper. So I considered myself to be the donkey, right? And I don't mean that to offend anybody, but I know some of us feel like that sometimes because life come at us so hard, right? So one night as I was coming home from work, when I got home, my son was up waiting for me, right? And when I opened the door, he literally said, "You know what, Daddy, come let me help you take off your shoes," right? And I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, he proceeded to sit me down in the couch to help me take off my shoes. You should see him with his little self, right? But he looked at me and he asked me a question. You want to know what he asked me? He said, "Daddy, are you going to go to work tomorrow?" And when he asked me that question, ladies and gentlemen, I literally broke down. I broke down and I cried tears like a baby. You want to know why? Earlier on that night, when I was coming home, ladies and gentlemen, I caught myself dozing off around the wheel. So when he asked me that question, I literally saw something flash before my eyes where he's waiting for me to come home and I never made it home, right? And I had to draw the line from that night till then and say, you know what? Working two jobs is not it. This doesn't make sense. And here is why I had to do it. See, I was raised by a single mom who has 9 children. My father disowned me when I was younger, so I had no example or anything to emulate. So I had to participate in my own rescue and be my rescue blanket. So I drew the line that night, ladies and gentlemen, and I went searching in the online space, got obsessed, and I kid you not, came across a great opportunity where I was able to make my first $4 in the online space. That sent my belief to the next level. It felt like 4,000. You couldn't talk to me. But ladies and gentlemen, time progressed. I discovered the network marketing space, and I kid you not, generated multiple 6 figures online with network marketing part-time while working a job, right? But in 2020, I walked away from network marketing, ladies and gentlemen, and I did absolutely nothing, living off of my residuals and all of this stuff. So guess what now, right? Okay, after a while, your residuals start to reduce, right? So I knew I could not go back to working a second job. So I had to kick myself in the butt. And guess what I did? Last year, ladies and gentlemen, I was coming out of a 21-day fast, and I kid you not, I discovered Michelle online. This was like God answering my prayers, right? And I watched. I want you to listen to what I'm saying, and I want you all to drop 5 in the comment section for all of my guests. I watched, ladies and gentlemen, for almost 3 months. It's not that I didn't believe. I looked for 3 things. I wanted to ensure that this had simplicity. It ticked the box. I wanted to make sure that there was the automation. It ticked the box. I wanted to ensure that there was the opportunity for me to leverage this, ladies and gentlemen. And lastly, I wanted to ensure that not only could this work for me, but can the average person take this, run with it, and win? So all the boxes ticked, right? The last thing that I needed, ladies and gentlemen, was a community. After I discovered the community, done deal. It was game over. So let me tell you how I slapped myself in the face. Got started, ladies and gentlemen, and within my first 7 days, I generated $1,200. Could slap myself in the face. You want to know why? Imagine if I had not waited almost 3 months to get started, right? Life happened, right? But I keep thinking, look how many other people I left out there, right? Fast forward, ladies and gentlemen, I generated my first 10,000 in 40 days, my first second 10,000 in 40 days. So I've been on the street now where it's a 10K in 40 days, 10K in 40 days. And I kid you not, I could not break that barrier, right? I stepped away. Michelle, no, I keep her in the loop of everything because see, life was lifing, right? Had to change careers, new businesses, getting up at the ground, and a whole lot, right? Ladies and gentlemen, hit that restart button, right? And I kid you not, just like what I'm used to. But guess what happened to me, ladies and gentlemen, right? Within the last 30 days, I was able to break my own record. And I don't say that to brag. I'm saying that to say that if I could do it while having a busy life, while juggling, other things, while being a husband, while being a father, you could definitely do it, right? But I want you to know this. I once considered myself the donkey. And if any one of you know the story of the donkey and the farmer, right? The farmer always tried to bury the donkey when the donkey dropped in that hole. But every time dirt went on that donkey, life is going to happen. You got to shake it off. So you see, just like that donkey, every time life came, I started to shake it off, ladies and gentlemen. And eventually, a lot of dirt piled up underneath my feet. So guess what I was able to do? Jumped out of the hole and I got this rescue blanket. And I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, if you are able to go ahead and, just borrow my belief, right? And get yourself started. I promise you, your 90 days could look completely different from now. I asked you to drop 5 in the comment section for all my guests. It's not the fact that 5 says money, right? 5 says faith, or 5 says DREAM, but it's the fact that you are here. And I know that you have belief. So you see, for me, this is what I had to do, all right? I had to be myself because I understood that everyone was already taken, right? I had to lie to myself because I had to tell myself good things in order to be able to help get me to the next level. And the last thing I had to do, ladies and gentlemen, was I just had to be so that I could live. So for those of you who are on here, all my guests, let me be one of the first to welcome you inside of our amazing opportunity. Just now before I jumped on the live stream, another $900 ding. And I don't say that, to brag or to boast, but literally what I've made in the last 30 days, not only have I beaten my own record, but I almost tripled my job salary. Tripled, all right? Michelle, listen, separate from that, I've already booked 3 family vacations, not 1, but 3 family vacations, and I didn't have to touch my regular income. So if I could do it, you could definitely do it. And Michelle, I'm going to toss it right back over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dean. Oh, I love your story. You guys, Dean, if you guys have ever been on any of my lives or anything, you've heard me say this. Dean's the one that shared with me, just get 1% better every day. And after 100 days, you're 100% better, and work on getting 1% better of that. I just like sharing that because I think about that. I think about that when we go to create content. I think about that when we go to build a business. What if we just focused on getting 1% better? I'm only sharing that with you because this is what the type of value that you actually get inside the community, right? You actually get to be poured on and trained and mentored from people like what you've heard share today.